It's the same old story for Miami. Just another year where they failed to get over the hump. The Hurricanes went 10-3 in 2024, which isn't a bad year. It was their best season yet under Mario Cristobal. It was their first 10-win season since 2017, but it was disappointing because they lost 3 of their last 4 games, including blowing a 21-0 lead at Syracuse, which ultimately cost them a shot at the ACC championship and cost them their opportunity to play in the 12-team college football playoff. Miami looked like a lot for the majority of the season, collapsed at the end of the season, ended up missing out entirely, and then lost their bowl game to Iowa State as well. Now they lose tons of talent on both sides of the ball, and it makes you wonder, will Miami be able to remain a contender in 2025? So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. Ready to talk the Miami Hurricanes. A little bit of a brief preview before we get to our predictions here in a few months. But as always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com, home to our expert picks, home to our weekly newsletters, and tons of exclusive content to help you get through this offseason, even though the offseason never really begins here at our channel, because we're talking college football with you year-round. The season never ends here at the Gridiron Expert. So we'd love for you to take advantage of that, to like, comment, subscribe, share the videos, hit that notification button so you don't miss out on any of our future content. Just become a member of our GE Nation. So, again, it's a problem down in Miami, right? Mario Cristobal comes back, a lot of excitement for him a few years ago when he returned, and he hasn't really lived up to the hype. 22-16 in 3 years with the Hurricanes, obviously getting that 10-win season this last year, which for most teams, that would be great. Most teams would kill for a 10-win season, but not when you realize you were so close to making the college football playoff and just ultimately collapsed. And we've seen a lot of blunders like that from Mario Cristobal. What was it, 2 years ago, the blunder against Georgia Tech. Then they lost to Georgia Tech again this year. Then you blow a 21-0 lead to Syracuse. And then you blow your bowl game against Iowa State. What was it, high-scoring shootout in a game where Cam Ward only played for one half. It was just a wild roller coaster of a season for a Miami team that for, again, almost the entire year looked unstoppable until that month of November. Now you come into 2025 and they lose so much. This is a team that had the #1 offense in the country, and they now lose their star quarterback in Cam Ward, their top running back, their top 4 wide receivers, including Xavier Restrepo, their top 3 tight ends, 2 on the offensive line. So the top offense in the country practically got wiped out, and they've got to rebuild now around Carson Beck. That's going to be the fun storyline that we watch throughout this offseason, and obviously that we watch early into the 2025 season. Beck recovering from an injury that he suffered at the end of the Georgia season, but 2 years at Georgia threw for over 7,400 yards, 52 touchdowns, and 18 interceptions. So has proven himself as a capable starter at a Power 5 program, or Power 4 program, I should say. A capable starter for a team that has championship expectations and expects to compete at a high level. Now comes to Miami, where he's hoping to kind of replicate the success that Cam Ward just had last year, but I can tell you right now that's not going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to be a bad year for Carson Beck. I'm not saying Miami's going to be bad by any means. That's not what we're saying. But Cam Ward was a completely different animal. Could be the #1 pick in the NFL draft come April. And obviously had way more weapons at his disposal than Carson Beck is going to have when he starts playing. Yes, they did add C.J. Daniels, the former LSU wide receiver. But outside of that, Miami's got a lot of young wide receiver talent that's going to be battling for playing time and battling for that kind of wide receiver 2 position. They got a lot of questions there. They've got talent, but they've got questions. The offensive line does seem pretty solid. Kind of rebuilt that a little bit, especially with the addition of James Brockermeyer. So that's a huge, huge addition for Miami this year. I don't think the offense is going to be bad by any means, but to expect them to repeat as the #1 offense in the country, to be as electric and high scoring as they were last year, I think that's unrealistic. And I would not expect that from Miami this year. I think you shoot for a top 30 offense and be happy with that. The defense, on the other hand, they have a lot of new players coming in as well. They have a new coordinator too, Corey Heatherman, coming in with a completely new group of players. 5 new defensive backs they added through the transfer portal, handful as well on the defensive line. It's one of those things now in the world of college football where your season kind of hinges on how quickly those players come together. The years of continuity and getting guys that have played for 3 or 4 years together, those years are gone. It's now build a team. You know, now it's let's load up with as many players as we can through the portal and hope they all gel quickly. And if they do, it could be a special year. If they don't, it's going to be a disappointing year. Look at Florida State. Florida State last year, a lot of guys coming into the portal, didn't do too hot, 2-10. On the flip side, look at a team like Indiana, who built their entire team through the portal last year under a first-year head coach in Curt Cignetti. They won 11 games and made the college football playoff. That's the two sides of the spectrum and this world of NIL and the transfer portal that we're just living in. That's just the future of the game. So that's kind of the story of Miami's defense. Will it be an Indiana caliber or will it be a Florida State caliber? How quickly will they come together, especially considering how bad Miami's defense was last year? The Hurricanes gave up 25.3 points per game last year, which doesn't sound terrible, but they collapsed at the end of the season. They allowed at least 30 points in 6 of the 13 games they played, including in each of their last 2 losses to Syracuse and then to Iowa State in their bowl game. So they absolutely collapsed down the stretch and then also could not stop Georgia Tech for anything in their first loss of the season to Yellow Jackets. Got run over by Brent Key's squad. So again, this Miami team enters the year with high expectations like they typically do, and as they should. This is Miami we're talking about. This is the U. I believe college football is better when Miami is good. And with the talent that they don't just have in state, but the talent that wants to come there, and the talent they have this year, there is no reason that Miami should consistently have losing seasons. They should consistently just be going 7-5, 8-4. They should be contending for ACC titles. They should be contending possibly for a playoff berth, especially now that the playoff has expanded. But can they do it? And can they do it with Mario Cristobal at the helm? Again, 22-16 in 3 years with a lot of coaching blunders down the stretch and a lot of late game or late season collapses down the stretch. Before we wrap up, we take a look at Miami's schedule. Again, we've talked about the roster loosely, and we're going to do a deeper dive into the Hurricanes and every other team here in a few months. We're going to predict every game on Miami's schedule coming your way here in just a few months, so stay tuned for that. But you take a look at their schedule now, it's not easy. It's arguably tougher than the schedule they faced last year. They opened the season at home against Notre Dame, the national runner-up, at home against Notre Dame, and they also host Florida at the end of September. So the bookends at the start of the season or the start of the month, really end of August, and the end of September, those bookends are against Notre Dame and Florida. And you've got to hope, if you're Miami, you can be at least 3-1 after those 4 games. The 2 in between should be pretty easy. So they've got to find a way to beat Notre Dame or beat Florida, and you'll be sitting pretty good. If they're 2-2, the season's not over. That'd be 2 non-conference losses, not the end of the world. They can still make a run for the ACC title, which if you win that, go to the playoffs. So don't give up. But obviously 2-2 is not a great start. Not ideal, especially when you look at the rest of the schedule and you realize they have to go to Florida State. They have to face a very good Louisville team. They have to go to SMU, and they have to go to Virginia Tech. So again, this is arguably a tougher schedule than the Hurricanes faced last year. They faced 2 elite opponents early on in the season. The conference slate is not any easier. Louisville's a team that absolutely could come into Miami and win that game. Florida State should improve. SMU was the runner-up and a playoff team. And Virginia Tech, we don't know, but we do know that playing there is a very difficult thing to do. Never easy. So this is a very brutal stretch for Mario Cristobal and really a make-or-break year for him. They fell short last year. 10 wins is good, but not when you realize what it should or could have been. This year, I think a realistic expectation could be 8 or 9 wins. Most people, that's good. For Miami, it's not. This is a year where they, again, expect to be in ACC title contention. They expect to make the college football playoff. But a lot of it is going to come down to how quickly this new roster gels together and really how quickly and how well they play in those first 4 games. That is going to set the tone for the rest of the year. So watch out for the U. Kind of a mystery down in the ACC. Will they be a team that goes on a magical run like they did last year? Will they be as good as they were last year? Probably not. But will they fall well short of expectations under Mario Cristobal again? That remains to be seen. But if that is the case, that could spell the end of the Cristobal era with the Hurricanes. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at The Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below. That includes our website, thegridironexpert.com. Those expert picks, our weekly newsletters, and tons of exclusive content there for you to help you get through this offseason. Because again, guys, while it might be long and strenuous, the season never dies here at our channel. We're talking college football year-round with you. We want you to take advantage of that. We want you to become a member of our GE Nation. So make sure to check it all out. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.